So super excited. We have the live stream working today. So I'm going to go ahead and tweet this out for everyone since it should be live. Oh my goodness. Hold on 2 seconds. For everyone. There we go. All right. So let's get this out there. And it's live. You guys can see me. So excited. Hey, Julia. Sorry about yesterday. Something happened. I use XSplit Broadcaster and it goes to YouTube and it did not connect together. So thank you guys for joining me. And I had some people reach out because they did not get on the live stream. So I do apologize about that. And I'm just tweeting it now, the new link. So it's frustrating. The old way was better because I could advise you guys of what I could advise you guys to go ahead and jump on, and I had the link. I've got a hair on my nose, sorry. There we go. And so it was a frustrating day yesterday. So I gave it 15 minutes and then I said, you know what, I'm done with this. All right. If you guys are new to my channel, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications so you guys will know when I go live, like this one. That's probably how you guys found it. Okay, let's go over to the charts. Let me get rid of my background here. I will show you guys more of the charts. So let's look and see. I have this new cool indicator. What do you guys think? It's an indicator that has an EMA crossover. And it shows when you should go long and then when you should potentially get out. So I kind of like that. I'm going to throw it on my chart, check it out, and see how it goes. All right, I'm going to get rid of this box of consolidation. Hey, John, thank you. Thanks for the compliments. Always nice. There used to be a time in my life where I would be shy and I wouldn't be able to accept compliments. So I love them now. I appreciate them. And thank you for being kind. Okay, so what is important about today? Today, we do have the FOMC meeting coming out. We had oil inventories. We have a surplus of oil right now. They were expected to be a negative 1.2 for the inventory, and it ended up being, we have a surplus of 0.5. At 1 o'clock, we have FOMC member Kashkari speaking. But that doesn't look like it's going to really be a big reaction. However, at 2 o'clock, we have the FOMC meeting minutes from 3 weeks ago. So they have their scheduled FOMC meetings that happen 8 times a year. And 3 weeks later, they release the full minutes. So let's go to the chart. And it was the 16th. That was the day in which we had that FOMC meeting going on. And what happened subsequently? Well, we set this trend line right here, which we tested yesterday, and it looks like they sold off from that point. Coincidentally, there was the tweet from Trump, and then maybe they had a bit of a bear trap yesterday, squeezed them up, and we are holding. I drew a downward channel from here to the top of this candlestick, and we are holding just below that channel right now. As far as our volume, you guys know I do look at volume. We've had some crazy volume. The biggest day was right here, and it has a high of 338.29. And now we are pulling, well, we haven't pulled back from that, but 338.29 is going to be a price that I would watch for sure. That has to do with this trend line. We are above this trend line, but compared to where we were back December 16th, the high here was 343, a low of 338.52. Are we going to repeat this pattern right here? Now, we also have, let me pull it up over here. When we look at the seasonality for what's going to happen during the election year, I've got to find it. I've got to find it in all of my, here we go. I think this is it. Make sure it's pulling up on the other screen. Yes. All right, so let's pull it right here so we can see on top of each other. So September, we come down in September. Hey, Arky. What do? We came down in September and bounced right up at the end of September. Yep, that's normal, right? Normal. Now we're entering October. It has a little bit of a downturn. Yeah, we had that. And we have a little bounce up. And then look at what follows. Boom. Now, you know, I'm not sure if every year they have the FOMC meeting right here, the middle of September. And then we have the 3 weeks later, and then the continuation to that FOMC meeting. So that's something to, I'm curious about that, because that would make sense for the timing that there's a repeat movement on the S&P 500 based on that during the election year. Okay, so this is election year. This is from Equity Clock, as you guys know, 59 years worth of history that this is setting up. So keeping all of that in mind, also really watching Apple. Okay, Apple, we had big volume back here. Let's adjust this. I don't want it right here. I'd rather have it, actually let's put it right here because they sold off right here. So right now we had this big block of consolidation. I'm going to get rid of these blocks, clear up my charts a little bit. Had another block down here. And it seems like we have another little one here. Are we going to break the 20 simple moving average and head back down, test down here in this channel? On the SPY, we might come down and test 336.70. Oh my goodness, what's happening? Do you guys see this on the SPY? What just happened? We are just somewhat like melting here. It just had a big pullback. And we're getting a short signal on the shorter time frame 15-minute chart right here. Interesting. Okay, all right. So are you guys prepared for I have no idea what happened with the news, Arky. The big guys saw me talking about it should drop, and that's what happened. No, I have no idea. Basically, it's following the prints and following the trends. Liquidation break, hopefully. Yeah. That's pretty cool, though. I like it when that stuff like that happens in real time. So it obviously was not Apple, right? Because Apple didn't really have that big pullback. It did have a pullback, though. And maybe we're going to come back down for Apple and test down here on the 45-minute chart. Let's pull it up as well. So they tested it, and now we're pulling back. They just hit my favorite, the 425 EMA. However, we have a potential to move down further. Down roughly down here, in my opinion, down to 103. And it's cool that all that just happened. Anyways, on my list today, you guys know I do have my watch list that I make available for you guys on my website, cjandtrade.com. The website will be getting revamped. Hopefully it will be up and running with the new version coming by this weekend. My buddy Brent is working on it. So once it's done, I will do a reveal about it. Okay, we'll look at JKS. Yeah, sure, Kyle. JKS and DPW. Is that Domino's? Domino's Pizza also has earnings this week as well. I believe that is happening tomorrow. Maybe it has something to do with China because Chinese stocks, Baba is a Chinese stock. Let's see if there's any news announcement over here. 11 hours ago, that doesn't help me. Okay. Any event, this broke down from my potential short level here today. Nice short right off of that, but it obviously had to wait a little bit for it. It had a little short pre-market, right at open, I should say, and now continuation. Now here's what you guys have to remember, right? The algorithms are really in control. Look at what happened. There was nobody really trading, and then boom, all of a sudden a bomb drops. Hopefully, just hypothetically, and that wasn't really the case. But we are definitely pulling back. And there's also something with many times on average that the SPY will tend to, there's something like 86% of the time, close the gap to where it closed from the day prior. Not every single day, but many times it will happen. And so if it closes the gap early, it pulls back. Sometimes that's a good entry. If it takes later in the day and maybe it curls down, you might have a nice short into that day. All right, so let's look at silver is also came up. It tested that 425 on the 15-minute, and we're just sort of hanging out here. It's not really picking one direction or the other. Sunworks had a lot of volume. This is a lower float. Let's pull up the list right here. So you guys can see if you do get my watch list, sign up for it, you can receive 20% off down below. In the comments is the promo code. So we had Sunworks that had 60% short volume and its lower float, as well as WWR. And we had Levi Jeans that also announced earnings this morning pre-market. And so that was an earnings trade for the day. All right, let's go ahead and continue forward with looking at them all. So we have American Airlines. This has somewhat been going sideways. Let me turn on the symbol and we will do a daily chart over here. And what I will do is I will set an alert on here. Let's do an alert if we cross below. Add an alert right there if we're crossing below, crossing down here. All right, back to American. DDD for a long swing into earnings. What are your thoughts? I will add it up and we'll check it out. So I did draw a bit of a trend line here on the daily chart from the peaks from in the past. However, I should adjust it up to the high of yesterday. And right now we're just sort of still trading sideways, not really a trade either direction on it over here. It's just been choppy. A lot of times that will happen when the larger players are creating a position. We'll see that it just goes sideways for a little bit. And I was looking at the SPY earlier and I thought, you know what, it really, on the 5-minute chart, it's really gone sideways right here. And then all of a sudden it broke. And maybe that's what happened. People just took advantage of that and sold it down really quickly. They're right back up again. And it keeps testing this trend line right here. That's from the downward channel that I created right there. All right. Forward with NEO. So NEO has a new trend line on the daily, and we have broken above it, and it is holding above right there. We'll see if we're able to close up closer up to 22. It's just has been selling off a little bit. I would be cautious holding this one longer term unless we have a big volume candlestick down here at the end of the day. It's also looking a little overbought on the stochastics right here, but I wouldn't use that solely as the reason not to get in. I would look more for the volume. The volume descending as we're hitting a trend line could really signify a pullback or a reversal area. Levi as well. So Levi's had their gap up today, and it was a gap and crap, right? Right off the bat, came down, broke down in the first 15 minutes, hit the 50 simple moving average, bounced up to the faster moving averages, and then it pulled back. And so a nice potential entry would have been right up here, 1635, and pulling back to the downside. DKNG. Really a sideways day, came down, we hit the 21 EMA on the daily. I like to use that as my potential trend reversal. Also the 20 SMA right there. So some volume came in right at open, and we've been above that volume all day. Looks like this 50 simple moving average is really acting as a point of resistance. If we're able to close If we're able to break that and close above, I feel like there's a magnet every time I'm talking about something. The stock prices are going there. It's pretty cool. Maybe we will break above 54.80 for that potential gap fill. Would like to see it close over here, close above that 15 EMA. And I'm going to put this on the 24-hour chart instead. Would like to see it close above the top of this candlestick from the pre-market activity right here. All right, WWR was a big runner up yesterday and is trading a bit sideways today on our chart. When it picks its direction, you can see the big volume was right here. We're still above that volume. Less volume yesterday, still a big spike up. So if it breaks below $10, more of a confirmation below $9.25, would likely see this one pull back down with the next test, likely around here, around $5.30. But be careful, this one is a lower float. So know that if you get into it, please be cautious with those shorts. All right, Morgan Stanley had a big amount of pre-market activity. However, it's hitting this 20 simple moving average over here. Just pulling forward to see the futures on the other side. Also track the futures if you want to trade the indexes. It's good to see what's going on with the futures, see if it breaks a certain level and going forward from there. Tap, yeah, John, I'll add tap on there as well. Beer as well. Why don't we add on Bud at the same time? People are probably drinking. They tend to, I think, have seasonality the end of November up into the holidays. Makes sense, right? Everybody's indoors. A lot of people are drinking more. So we'll look at those. Apple as well. We already touched on Apple, that it is pulling back. Now, something I did not touch upon is Microsoft. But when we start to see these bigger, heavily weighted stocks that are starting to pull back, it can signify that maybe we will have a bit more of a downward trend until the bigger guys are really buying into these positions, right? So let's adjust it right here to this one. And I'm gonna lock it. So when I try to move it next time, remind me that I locked it. All right. For now, it's still at the upward bound right here. It's riding this moving average up. So I would look for if we're going to continue down and test maybe down here at 199 or even down here at 197, that potentially a breakdown below 206 for that confirmation. Now remember, like I said, 2 o'clock will likely be a volatile time in the market today because of those FOMC minutes coming out. If we look back, so we have the chart for today. Let's put this on the 5-minute over here. Actually, let's put on a 15-minute. And we will look specifically at September 16th. That was the FOMC minutes time. And let's see if the chart is mimicking it at all. Okay, so we are on the 16th, right? So as we came forward, it came up, hit a high, pulled back, bounced up a little bit higher, right at 215, right? And we're over here. Let's see, I don't see it on this chart on the right, so maybe if I can turn this on. Ah, that's down here. Okay. So we came up, hit 342. Yeah, I'll look at it, Randy. I know that Children's Place, Old Navy, as far as ordering clothes for little kids, little girls, that can be an easy place to look for online ordering. That's one of the places that I look up here in Canada. So looking back, we came up, we set a little bit more of a new high, and then they sold it off hard. So maybe we're gonna see a test up here of the 340 level, and then they'll drop it hard, drop it like a rock, and see if they come down and bring it down here to 335, or even down on the daily. I would look at that 20 SMA, really. I think it's a 20 SMA. Yeah, right down here as a target. So 333.55. we could easily have a really bearish day depending on the news that they say. You know, there's been a lot of speculation about, oh, I don't have it up anymore, the money with the stimulus, and Trump saying no more stimulus until I'm done with the elections. Okay, well, people need the money in their hands now. Like 3 weeks later is not going to really, or a month later is not going to do them any good. It's something that needs to take place now. And right now they're really trying to stimulate the economy big time. The other way they could do that is also reduce taxes. So less taxes, which would put more money into the hands of the people as well. All right, so let's look at the ones you guys brought to the table today. JKS. All right, so JKS, again, still ripping higher on that daily chart. Yeah, it's a lot of political movement, you know. I grew up in DC, so I try to stay away from politics. But I see it 100% as political stuff. And then he was saying, no, but we'll give you the 1200 if you guys will pass that, which would never happen because there's always, it seems like in politics, there's always a hidden agenda as well. So JKS is rocking. It's showing a bit overextended here on the daily, but you can see the market does not have to act rationally. It's continued to go up even though it looks like it's overbought. Keeps going up, keeps going up. In fact, let's go here. You guys know I also like to look at short volume. Short volume, it looks like they're getting stubborn with JKS. Look at the, yeah, this is a nice short squeeze. They do not always end well, but for the past 5 days, it's been on average 60% short. The last 10 days, 57% short. The last 20 days, trading days, 57% short and 55% short for the last 50 trading days. So when this happens, we have these parabolic moves. I'm sure everybody thought, oh, I'm going to get out here. Then there was the gap for earnings, and then it continued and just shot up. And now it's doubled already, right? Because it was 24, 48 would be double, and then another $4 today. And what is the, let's go to JKS, stock, float, Wall Street Journal. So it has 45 million. It's not that low float, but still has a lot of activity to it. So, hey, as far as it's riding these up and it's still moving, it looks like 53 looks like it's acting as resistance right now. It just seems to be stalling right there, 53.07. So not sure if there's a bunch of sellers on the level 2, but they might be there, and that might be why I would look at the level 2 and see, hey, is this getting taken out? This looks like a doji indecision. We're above this right now. If it were to drop below 52.36 as a day trade, I would get out because that would mean that there was a lot of selling pressure right here, but we're above it for now. So maybe the shorts are feeling that pain and getting squeezed again. All right, DPW. All right, so let's look at this, Kyle. So DPW, when we look back at it, this is one of the ones that spikes, comes down, spikes, rides it downhill, spikes, comes down. We've just crossed above the 50 simple moving average on the daily chart, and we have this big candlestick right here. This doesn't have a lot of daily volume, so you want to be careful. Average volume 5.7 million. Okay, so it's not that bad. This big candlestick is going to be the one that I would watch. If it goes above 244, that would be more of an indication to get in for me. Right now we're testing the volume on the daily candlestick from this big volume day over here, right? We're just above it. You guys can see the line right here. It's just above it. So right here, this is our next biggest day. We've broken above this. All right, maybe that was buying. Maybe this was a bit selling right here. So I would want that confirmation if I were to go along with this for it to be fully broken out. Also looks a bit like a W right here. Oh, I changed it to blue. Let's change that back to yellow. It's easier to see. So a bit of a W with this being the top of it. If we have volume coming in, might run big time. Oh, I hear the rain. It is pouring here. Can you guys hear it in the background? I don't think so, but DDD. All right, MTETs, let's check out DDD. So this looks like it's actually hit a resistance area, right? Big volume came in, it's had a big run up, hit resistance, might fill the gap up here, but we have the big volume when it broke out on this level, on this candlestick right here, squeeze the shorts, and it's not able to really hold above this 627 area, right? So if it could break above that 627 area, that might be, might have a little move further up here, but you're likely going to find that it hits a lot of resistance in this area. In fact, look, if we pull that back, sorry, I've got a bit of a, oh, I keep doing that. I've got a bit of a sniffly nose with the weather. It had a beautiful run this morning out into, with the fall leaves changing color. And you see it's testing all this resistance on the left-hand side. So you don't want to get pigeonholed into smaller time frame. Look at the big picture, okay? And tap. All right, tap looks good. 5 minutes, looks like it's coming up, hitting on the daily chart over here, our 50 simple moving average, and it's butted heads against it for quite a while. Here, came up, dropped below, came up, dropped below, up, tested as support. But other than that, for the most, ever since pretty much April, really the past 6 months, it's used it more as a resistance than a support. So without big volume with tap, this looks like descending volume as it's rising, potential signification that it might be pulling back here. All right. Every time it had a big spike, we had big volume, and it's above us, so that would be selling. This volume right here, we are just above it, right? That's the next biggest volume from this one. The sell-off, maybe this was the shorts covering right here or buying, and we are above that candlestick right now. And the next one below would be right here. So maybe that was selling, I'm not sure, but right now we're above it. So we shall see. Okay, this is on the 15-minute chart. It doesn't look so healthy, right? It looks more like they've been having selling power all day today. So I'm going to go to the tops of the up candles, and it's just really been following that trend down all day. And let's just look at Budweiser for argument's sake, because it's in the same sector, and it's hitting, it is above the 50 simple moving average, but it's hitting another crucial exponential moving average right here. And so on our daily chart, I would bring it up here and right there. So the high of yesterday, it's sort of trading sideways, but volume is dropping off. And again, we're slowly melting down on the SPY. So, melting down from the highs, not obviously from yesterday on the daily chart. I know people, wow, there's the rain. I know that people say, oh my goodness, you have so many lines, but I know what they all mean, and they mean something to me up here. So that's how I interpret it. And this one is looking very influential for the day, for the trend, ever since roughly September 4th. Yeah, September 4th. This has been our upper bound for the trend. And are we going to break above it? Or with this big volume candlestick, are we going to break below it and just take it out today? Where did this trend line come from? Hold on, I'm going to look at it on this shorter time frame here, guys, and see. You want to check out Sava MTETs? So this came from our bounce, down here on the 24th. So we've been riding that to the upside. Are we going to break below? And also, this is the 20 exponential moving, 20 simple moving average right here at roughly 333.89. So I would watch that. And let's check out Sava. You guys have any other ones that you'd like to look at, put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to run and go have some lunch. All right, so Sava, it doesn't look like, yes, it does have a short squeeze going on, but it looks like that's somewhat usual for it. Here's something to note though. Look at the daily volume here in comparison. This day, okay, massive volume, big run up. We're above it, yes, bullish. There's big volume right here at the moment. However, in comparison, on average, that's pretty low volume. So it's really spiking up on lower volume. This day, okay, this day is justified. Likely there was somebody buying into it. So as a potential long, hey, as long as it's holding this, potential longer term swing on it, in my opinion. Okay, guys. I hope you have an amazing afternoon. Thank you guys for joining me. Sorry about the live stream yesterday, but I appreciate the fact that you guys showed up today, and I will be here. If there's an issue, I will try to let you guys know. It was something that happened with, again, the YouTube and the broadcasting software not connecting, but I did figure out a way to make it happen. So have an amazing afternoon. Carpe Profit, seize those profits, one trade at a time, and I will see you all tomorrow at 12:15.